wait for me. Although I did have instructions that if you're ahead of me, I'm not going to interfere your race, and I want him to do as my grandson, I want him to do as well as possible, but I don't want him to interfere with my race, right? Although I would admit we didn't practice range setups, which we probably should have. So Jay Digital gets away from me. Not to say that Jay, couldn't have, JD couldn't have, Jay Digital couldn't have caught me at the end there, but I know anytime I'm ahead of him, I feel like I'm doing well. But let's face it, he was back there and I was pulled off and I'd hit the reverse, and that's just not good. So you just don't race your teammate like that. Although I think that's reminiscent of the Red Bull racing team, if I remember correctly, Vettel and Weber. Although I think was that last year? Yeah, I remember one of the races where they collided and all of a sudden there's hand gestures. Here I go wide. I'm just reeling about the kid, and of course he's minding his P's and Q's at this point. And there's nothing worse than getting hit. And I think, although we know there's racing accidents, you just don't want your teammate to impede your progress in a race. Although I think Francisco realizes now when it's raining or whatever, you just have to look for that guy in front to brake. And okay, at this point he takes the pits. They're asking me for pit stop, and of course I was already telling him that he should have pitted already because we're on the same team. And as you know, I'm still a little confused about the fuel. That I thought we had enough fuel for 2011 rather, that we had sufficient fuel to go the whole race. So I'm a little confused about the fueling issue. Maybe as any one of you, or Mugu Slam, as you hear this video, you've been sending me emails, so thanks for those updates on my inquiries through the video. So here 9 laps out of 29 again, just getting off the turning and the braking points here. But I would say I'm fortunate. I didn't touch the wall. I didn't break any wings. I didn't flip. I think I spun that or turned around that one time to my teammate. Although I think I might have done the same thing to John Robb here in that second or third lap. So we'll have to see if I make it to the steward panel. And I think that that storyline comes up again in the final closing laps. That John Robb was starting to close me up. And I think on that John Robb incident at the beginning, that I think a few times he was flying, not really keeping it on the track or going a little wide due to some braking issues, I think, with him and Wolfman. So. Of course, it's almost a deja vu event between myself and Francisco, and maybe what I did to John Robb, but I guess we'll have to see if that makes it to the steward panel. Okay, so he's 16 seconds back with top 3 Francisco, and that is at this point. Here I go into the pits finally. At this point, I think we're just running basic default strategy, in and out, pretty easy. Best lap 147.6. Okay, coming on after pit stop 1 here. I believe it's on intermediates. Am I on intermediates? It shows me in 6th position here. Copper plate is in 7th. Yeah, I think the result and the results, as we see here in the closing video, that another 19 laps, that I wasn't clearly the fastest guy, but again, once you get track position, although I think it was an interesting race right at the end there, and some of the races, a couple races back, I think, where I had a spin around, and I had a little accident with Mughal Slam, and on one of those closing race laps, I'm not sure if that was Malaysia, but one of those races where I had a tangle with Mughal Slam, and then Wolfman and Stedman end up getting by. It'll be interesting to see how this end of this race unfolds. Again, never quit till you get the checkered. Got a little squirrely right there. You go over that berm, I tell you, that could turn you. Even here, look at the revs. I just do not feel confident here. You can never practice a wet setup, but the cars did feel a little different. I think some of the guys were saying that patch made the cars feel different, although I'm just not sure. I'm not sure if I'm really feeling the difference with the patch, or I'm just not used to running the car in the wet. But I'm not even sure that the way it made it sound that we must be running dynamic, and I thought we were going to run the actual weather pattern that the race unfolded in during the 2011 season. So I'm not sure. Okay, so Wolfman's up here. Copper Plate is behind me. Again, lap 11. As we're sitting here in November, that's November 23rd, by the way. I'm not sure I called the date out. November 23rd, 2011. And that's actually 22nd. Let's say I'm actually doing this after midnight here. Yeah, 22nd of November, 2011. So this is Precision Racing League. I think we had 12 out of 16 or 14. Yeah, it sounds like we're getting new participants, but then they don't stick with it. So I don't know. I think the grandson was offered a ride here, so we'll see if he can participate. Yeah, even thinking about perhaps even starting a league on Friday night or Saturday night because he's here with me on the weekends, and Tuesday might be a push. Yeah, we have to start at 8 Central Time here and be done by 9:30, and I think Mother may have a problem with him staying up later. Because as you know, after the race, it takes you a while to calm down, either because of a good or mediocre or great result. But I can tell you, I've done shifter go-kart racing for a decade. I've done RC car racing, nitro racing, speed skating, bicycle racing, and I tell you, the sim stuff is just as exciting as anything else I've done. Of course, what's nice about the sim racing here is you can have an accident and still report to work for Monday, and you don't have the bumps and bruises that you would have with some of these other races. Of course, I'm 48 years old, so I'm middle-aged, so that's, when I did these racing activities in my 20s and 30s, late 30s, I would, although I'm considering about going back to go-kart racing, I don't know, with the grandson, we had shifter carts, and I can tell you there's some, that was supposed to be the closest thing to Formula 1 racing they say you'll ever get, but if you guys ever have a chance to ever go-kart racing, check it out, it's pretty fun. But I tell you, we were doing RC racing prior to this last year, and nitro racing this spring, RC A-scale stuff, and even the grandson says this stuff is just as exciting as anything we've done when it comes to organized racing. Of course, in those organized races, you have to sit around for hours, and they only race so many heats, and really do enjoy the Precision Racing League here. So, but yeah, maybe we'll start up something if we can't get him to do it. Maybe start up something on a Friday or Saturday. We were doing some practice racing this weekend, just with in the lobby, but you just can't seem to find guys that can drive without hitting you. So that was a little upsetting. Although I noticed when we were doing our practice routine, I'm not sure. Still must be learning the game because we were trying to get the AIs in our settings, but for some reason there must be something I'm not turning on. But he enjoys it. I enjoy it. I think we're looking forward to the Dirt series here in a couple weeks. I got my Dirt 3 version. So here we are, lap 13 out of 29. There's John Robb behind me. There's looks like Joel's in first. J Digital, I think, is up there with Pink Tank, the usual bunch. Yeah, at this point, I don't see any yellow dots behind me. I think I'm just thinking to myself, okay, just get to the pit stops. Don't do anything foolish. I'm just thankful that the little run I had with my teammate didn't damage my car, or I didn't do something where it got me out of my schedule. I mean, although I did, I'm sure J Digital would have chased me down eventually. But anytime I can stay ahead of some of the faster guys that are normally faster, it always gives you some confidence. Yeah, not really braking really late here. I'm really slowing up way before that corner. I think a lot of the members talk about trying to get in practice, and then when we do, it's not always wet practice. So I think that's something that we should, if we're doing dynamic weather, that everyone should make sure they do wet practice. Yeah, and the club started on the race started on time tonight. So kudos to everybody that made it here, and we were able to start the race right on time. So that's good. And as you know, Bernie doesn't like starting late, nor does Mr. Whiting. There would be Charlie Whiting, for those of you that follow the sport. Yeah, at this point, I think I thought I was catching Wolfman, but then I realized it's, I believe it's Marco again. So at this point, I'm thinking to myself about that John Robb accident from the opening laps, and I thought, I wonder if I should just let him catch me and pass me, and that if he reels me in, I'm thinking to myself, maybe I should just give him the lane. But I'm trying to, I'm trying to decipher this. That did I, did I impede his progress by pushing him wide a little bit after he was squirrely a few laps before that, and then I didn't actually press the issue. As I was keeping it clean, he was getting squirrely in the opening laps. Of course, you can always rewind this video and check it out. Here is Marco here just keeping it together. And I don't think Marco is running traction control either. I think he loops it a few times, although that's only a guess. I give Marco the thank you. Yeah, not really comfortable in that little chicane there, or switchback. Is that a switchback or chicane? Definitely not carrying my speed to that corner like I should be. But at this point, I'm thinking to myself, I'm sitting in 6th, so I'm mid-pack. That's about as That's about as best I can hope for until I can either improve my lap times or. Okay, someone destroys the car. That must be the new guy. Again, I'll have to. I've yet to print a sheet up where I can actually use everyone's real name during these video reviews, so we'll maybe do that for next week. Yeah, I'm seeing some red up there. I'm seeing some green. And I just realized, okay, I don't need to press. I just need to maintain position here. I qualified 10th. I'm sitting here mid to upper pack, and I'm just basically just trying to just in the groove here, just enjoying the laps and not trying to think too much, just trying to react. Wide right there. 7 seconds to Wolfman there, so I'm just thinking, well, the lap communication engineer tells you that if you can do a certain lap time, you can catch them. And at this point, I'm thinking, well, I don't want to overdrive the car. I mean, I don't really have anybody behind me. That's John Robb's 20 seconds back. No one's really pressing. I mean, if I finish 6th right here, right now, I'd be pretty satisfied. And sometimes, of course, as the grandson realizes, you can press yourself right out of the race. So you really got to just relax a little bit. Although I think we had a discussion after the race. He was thinking of running out of gas, he said, and didn't stand his pit stops. He was doing 2 or 3 laps past his pit stop, and I'm not sure why he did that. But I think I was doing that to him during the weekend when we were doing some 50% races, and I think in the last race I actually ran out of gas, and I was kind of stumped there because I always thought that there was no refueling, and you don't run out of gas. So I'm not sure why that is, but again, maybe as some of the folks listening to this, they can shoot me a message on the forum. Apparently, there is a gas limit, so. So lap 16 to 29 here, just trying to get just past the halfway point. And now, of course, we got to do it all over again. So we're just sitting here waiting. Kind of like the idea that I don't see any really dots behind me, although I do like to get some people in front of me because that does push you a little bit.